Bosses start somewhere. Hello and welcome to another episode of Bosses Start Somewhere. It's your girl Riley Brooks Stiff, and I am so excited and honored because today I have a very, very special guest on the show. This woman is so inspiring and the true definition of a boss. She's a global influencer, entrepreneur, talent manager, philanthropist, social media powerhouse, and all around just fire. So I want to give the warmest welcome to the one and only YESJULZ.
That was amazing. Can I take you on the road with me?
I would love
I need that introduction every time I get brought out.
Oh my gosh, that's such an honor to hear. Jules, you are such an inspiration. So I just want to say thank you so much for just being the real deal.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be on this podcast today. I love any platform that highlights, the struggling entrepreneur and especially women. So thank you for doing what you do. And it's an honor to be here today.
Thank you so much. What an honor. As I mentioned, I've been so inspired by your energy because you literally do not stop. So I want to know, how did this whole journey begin for you? What inspired you to say, you know what, I'm going to be my own boss?
To be honest, it's a funny story. I don't know if I should tell the whole thing, but how long do we have on this?
As much time as you would like. Listen.
Okay. So by the way, I'm definitely in the back of a Lyft. Shout out to Lyft in New York City right now. So if you experience any cutouts, please just let me know. Because we're driving through some weird places at the moment.
No
but
worries.
Yeah, for me, I was in Miami at the time. I was kind of like, I guess you could say, one of the lead promoters and event producers in Miami in terms of like the hip hop space as a woman. And I was working for Miami Marketing Group and the Delano at the time. And I made a lot of money. I was 23 or 24. I was about to use all the money that I had to buy a Jeep.
Wow.
And instead, I got cold feet and decided that I had never left the country before. So I was like, how can I, have the most money I've ever had saved up in my life and spend it all on a car when I've never even seen the world? So I decided to leave the dealership that day and go and buy a one-way ticket to Paris. And that started a journey that summer for me where I ended up visiting 13 countries.
Wow.
I got a little flat in Paris for like 900 euros a month. I parked my stuff there. I was living in Montmartre. And I really just wanted to see different places. I had been really doing well in Miami. And the thing that kind of had set me off was I bought my first Chanel bag with the money I had made that year. Mm-hmm. And it took me like 5 hours in the store to pick out this bag. I had always wanted a Chanel bag. I was not aware that they were $5,000. I thought maybe like $2,000 or $3,000. But I had made the commitment to myself. I promised myself I'd buy one. All my friends had one. And so it was really hard for me to hand over the $5,000 and purchase this bag. Wow. But I took pictures of all the different kinds that I wanted and I couldn't decide. I was literally in there for like 5 hours. So finally the people got tired of me and they were like, girl, just get this black caviar one. It's like the pink one, all the other ones you have are like too, they're too out there. This is like an everyday bag. So I got super excited to show off my bag. I invited my friend. This is such a surface level story, by the way.
It's perfect.
Okay. I really wanted to show them like, hey, look, I'm finally like in the club. I have a Chanel bag. So we go to the table and I'm like, look, do you think I made the right choice? I start showing them pictures of my other bags that I was thinking of getting. And they were like, wait a minute, you bought this bag for yourself? And I said, yeah. I'm like, you guys didn't buy your bags? And they laughed at me and they were like, no. They were like, Jules, so many guys like you. Like, why would you buy your own bag? You could just have had somebody else buy your bag. I was like, wait, so none of you guys have bought your bags? And they were like, no, we don't spend our money on name brand things. We just have guys buy them for us. And I was so taken back by the fact that that I didn't realize this was what was like happening because they all had Louboutins and Herbs Leger dresses. This was like, right when Instagram started popping off. And I was like 23 years old. I'm 29 now. So, and I was like, wow, I can't believe they actually feel okay saying this out loud. Like they're proud that they're not spending their money on themselves and that it was kind of like a cool thing at the time to be like a kept woman in my city. And so I was really turned off from Miami because of that. And that night I went home. I was going to buy the car the next day. I had like all these things I wanted to buy once I had saved up $25,000. So it was a bag, the car, a dog. Um, and so I was like, wow, you know what? I don't like this. I don't want to be a part of this lifestyle. I really started questioning my entire existence because all of my friends, thought it was cool to just be taken care of. They didn't think it was cool to like have their own business or have their own like dreams or aspirations, I guess. And so I just wanted to get out of the city as quickly as possible. I bought this ticket, went to Paris. Long story short, I almost got arrested in Egypt and for smoking a joint by the Great Pyramid. And I had these guards in my face with these big guns. My girlfriend Sarai and I were kind of just thinking we were going to be in jail in Cairo. And I prayed to God and I said, God, I'm so sorry I have forsaken Miami and the United States. I had been like talking shit about the two the whole trip. I'm like, man, I want to move to Europe. It's so much better over here. Like, I'm never going back home. And I was like, if you could please just get me back to the States. I promise you that once I get home, I will just change my perspective. And I was like, Miami's a great place. I don't mean any of the things I said about it. I'll change my lifestyle there if you just get me home, please. Like, I'll never say anything bad about the United States again. So $2,000 later and bribing the cops, we ended up not going to jail. I borrowed money from my friend Jesse, who's actually sitting next to me right now. And I got a plane ticket home. I got home and I started thinking of ways that I could make it cool to be supporting yourself as a woman in my city. And so I started taking meetings for I wanted to do my own parties and my own events at this point. So instead of working for another company, so I started reaching out to hotels and venues and just pitching them ideas for events. And while I was doing that, Snapchat had just started and I was kind of like one of the first people on Snapchat. And so I decided that I would document my journey as this new entrepreneur on Snapchat and that I would hashtag everything never not working as a way to kind of make it trendy to be a working woman. And so that's really how the Never Not Working hashtag was born. That's how YESJULZ agency was born. I really wanted to change the way people approached me. I didn't want to be the girl that guys were calling to book them tables anymore. I didn't want to be the girl that girls were calling to take them to Drake's table at the club anymore. I wanted to be someone that people were coming to with their ideas, with wants to collaborate, you know. I just wanted to be like the source and the center for the beginning of a lot of movement in my city. And so that's kind of how I became a business owner. And I as soon as I decided to make that move, I got my first client. It was Coca-Cola.
Wow.
Shout out to Maverick Carter. It was right when LeBron was going to be doing his first Sprite flavor and they wanted to do a launch party. And I said, okay, how much do I charge for this? Luckily, Maverick, helped me figure out a number to tell Coca-Cola. I told Coca-Cola I'd call them as soon as I got back to my office. I was in my little apartment. In reality, I didn't have an office. I created a fake email for myself to be my assistant. So I'd then CC my fake email and act as though I was my assistant, replying to things because I thought it made me look more professional, more boss-like, I guess. And, I kind of just faked it till I made it, to be honest. And I think that, that's what a lot of people do. And I've researched a lot of my idols and read their autobiographies. And it's definitely not something that hasn't been done before. And, I kind of just had all these ideas in terms of, it was the beginning of social media, quote unquote, influencers. And I just had all these things that I loved that were made by these companies that I really wanted to work with. And I would just put it out into the atmosphere and manifest it. I would tag Mophie before Mophie even considered working with influencers. Like, people didn't even know what the value of an influencer talking or posting about the brand was at the time. So at that time, I had to convince people why Snapchat was a great app to be on as Beats by Dre or Nike, and so it was kind of just, that's how it started. That's,
first of all, so inspiring, and I'm left speechless. I read a quote yesterday that I posted, and it talked about, it's from Woody Allen. It goes, 70% of success in life is showing up for yourself. And That's exactly what you do, and that's what you did. And I feel that's the reason why you are where you are today. And I want to ask you, have you ever wanted to give up?
All the time. I literally, on my drive to New York today, was thinking about giving. I think about giving up all the time recently. Between the ages of when I started my business at 23 up until 27, those were my golden years, right? I made the most money I've made ever when I was 26. I bought my mom a house at that time. Between those years, I never thought about giving up.
Wow.
And then when I believe it was 26 or 27, something really bad, to me at least, what I consider to be something really bad happened to me, either when I was 26 or 27, to where I felt exposed to the public. And I definitely did not want to go on at that point. Really, the only thing that helped me to go on was the fact that I had bought my mom this house and I had to make the mortgage payments. And so that my family is my driving force in everything that I do. And I don't think that that's aspirational, because I feel that the most inspiring thing is a person who does things for themselves. So I always thought it was like, yeah, I'm reading this really great book right now called Everything is Fucked. And
I
it's
read,
by the person
yes,
who
Subtle
wrote
Art.
Subtle Art. Yes.
I
And
love
so he
that.
talks about in a chapter how we do these things. We have these stories that we create for ourselves as human beings because we need to feed off of hope. It's the only thing that gets us out of bed in the morning. We have hope in whether it's the system or in ourselves or in God. And so we create these storylines, whether it's that we're following Jesus' story, or that a family member passed away, so we have to make them proud. But like in reality, these are these stories that we create for ourselves to move on. And I realized, like, my story that I created for myself was, okay, well, my mom adopted me and she's my hero, and I have to do everything in life to pay her back. And that's been the story that I created for myself. That's helped me continue as an entrepreneur. But now I'm at this place where I'm digging deeper, and I need to be now moving to a level where I'm doing things for myself, because God forbid something happens, to my family, or, then what am I doing it for? So I'm really looking to get to that place. I'm not quite there yet, but I think it's a constant battle. It's work that you have to do every day, And so for me, it's weird because there's a lot of adversity. There's a lot of people that don't want to see me doing what I'm doing, or don't want to see me succeed. And sometimes that's the reason why I don't want to continue. And other times it's the thing that keeps me going. Wow. And so I think it's a really complex answer here, but I love what I do. I don't love all the components that come with it. But at the end of the day, the core of it is that I love what I do. And I don't know, I've been thinking about, well, what else would I do if I wasn't doing what I do? And there's a lot of things that I enjoy. I love writing. I love reading. I come up with ideas for movies all the time. I love singing. I love making music. And so, yeah, there are other answers as far as like, what could I do if I wasn't doing the things that I do in this space? And I could switch and do many other things, but I think what I love the most is really like providing a place for creative people to connect with one another. And I really love the aspect of my job. I guess this would be like management or consulting, where I get to help a person realize their dreams.
Wow. Going off of that, I mean, your ear is so dope. You align yourself with real, authentic artists that I feel we can really relate to. Speaking of Kaylin Arnold, I mean, Crown is fire. That record is amazing, and I'm just so excited to see what you do with her. How do you stay true to yourself and still align yourself with artists like a Kaylin Arnold? When the industry is just so hyper competitive.
There's no other options for me. Music means so much to me that I would never, I can't say that, because I started a label not too long ago. Right. And I had this small team of A&Rs and, people who I believe in them, you know, from Dre, who was an A&R on my team, who works day to day with Lexi Aliger, who's one of our artists, or Bronze, shout out to Bronze, who's now in London. And those people had their own opinions on music, right? And it became a thing where I only want to work with artists like Kaylin, artists like Shake, people I'm drawn to. I'm drawn to people who are overcoming obstacles and who are speaking to worldly issues, right? Because those are the things that got me through my hard times as a adolescent. So like, if it wasn't for the miseducation of Lauryn Hill, I wouldn't know how to describe what real love is. Like, that was my first time being able to hear and understand and express love, was after hearing that album. Wow. Knowing how to put value on yourself as a woman. Don't be a hard rock when you really are a gem. You know, knowing what it is to be proud of your natural attributes. You know, when she talks about like hair done by Koreans, and she's saying come again, like all of these things are things that stuck with me as a young woman. And I wanted to help that kind of music continue to be something that is etched in the brains of and minds of young people in a time where I feel like we're losing sight of music that really impacts the mind, you know? Yes. So for me, like, I would never want to work. I was never really interested in working with people who weren't speaking on these topics or weren't making you evoke, their music's not evoking emotion. However, I built a team, and then my team would take a liking to some artists that maybe were just making music that was good and it was fun and we'll play it at the parties. But it's not necessarily what I like. So I did kind of lose sight of that as a business owner and make decisions to sign certain people who didn't really align with my musical taste for my team's sake, right? And so part of me going to Hawaii was kind of like starting from scratch with my team even, and being like, you know what? I lost sight of everything that I started this business for, and I need to take a break. On a personal level, I'm not okay. I need to like get back to a place where I'm inspired and motivated to come from a positive place and not be reacting to a negative thing. Exactly. You know, I think like I started operating in a sense of I was responding to negativity instead of coming from a place of positivity. And I never wanted to be that person. So I needed to take a break. But for me, like, I've never made I have yet to make $1 off an artist. Wow. Like I have invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into the artists that I've worked with. And when we finally got to a point with the one artist that was like my main focus at the time, where I would have been starting to make my money back and then make an income and it be a business that's in the green, she left. So I have not experienced success in a sense yet. And I could have a long time ago if I would have taken the advice of the industry leaders who were just looking out for my financial stability and pretty much my sanity by saying, Jules, nobody does artist development anymore. You have a playlist, you have a radio station, you have artists reaching out to you all the time. Why don't you just look on SoundCloud, look at the next smoke perp that's about to blow up that has hundreds of thousands of plays and needs a label or distribution or management, and do the math. You'll make money right away as soon as you sign them. Somebody like a Kaylin or somebody like a Shake is going to take money and investment and time and energy. Like, it's not as easy. And they're like, you know, people don't do that anymore. And for me, my response was, I don't like that music. I'm not in the music industry to make money. Wow. as much as people would laugh at me, you know, business men mostly. Because women, I feel like we come from an emotional place, right? So it's like, if you're in the music business is a business. So if you're going to say you're not in the business to make money, you sound unintelligent. Right. But for me, like, music is something that got me through my entire life. It's like the one thing that I could take with me from home to home, from family to family, from personality to personality as I grew up, that like always kept me grounded and reminded me of where like square one was. So I would never disrespect the art by highlighting music that is subpar in my opinion. So I could have been taking money for playlisting artists a long time ago and playing crap on 1AM radio and been probably in a better space financially right now. I could have been working with artists. I could have worked with a lot of artists that are really well known right now. In the beginning of their career, I had the opportunity to, but they just did not align with my morals as far as that art is concerned. So, it's definitely not something that I suggest for everyone, but I'm hoping that it will pay off for me in the long run, because I see somebody like Kaylin as like, to me, she's like the Lauryn Hill of our generation. And it might take 3 years instead of 6 months, but I'm in it for the long haul. And I hope that, it comes to fruition in terms of, becoming something that's a profitable stream of revenue for me. But, yeah, I wouldn't, I make a lot more money doing events and working with brands than, like I said, than I do in the music space. So for me, it's not like a dollars game. It's just
It's a
like
passion
finding people
game.
that move me
Yeah.
and getting behind them. Yeah, exactly.
What's next for you? I mean, it looks like you've been in the studio. Are you working on your own music? Talk to us a
It's
little
an
bit.
interesting time in my life right now. Like you have these goals, right? I've had the goal of making 1 a.m. the MTV for the digital generation for a decade.
Yeah.
I've done an album release party for my favorite artist of all time. Never in a million years did I think I'd be working with Kanye West.
Yeah.
Never in a million years did I think that I would be working like, or have my own shoe with Puma. Like there's things that I've accomplished that I never thought I would even be able to accomplish. And I'm here at this place where I guess you could say I've reached the level that I've wanted to reach. I've had a lot of success in this space, and I'm finding that I'm still not fulfilled. And I think that's because I'm here to make an impact. And I don't feel that I'm making the impact that I could truly be making. And I feel that I have boundless amounts of energy and creativity. And I really am at a place where I want to find a way to use my talents to really like move the needle in a bigger way that I've been doing. So maybe the little things that I've done have in some way, shape, or form inspired others or made a difference, but I don't feel that that's been done enough.
Wow.
And so I'm trying to find ways to move forward in a more impactful way. And I'm just taking my time doing so. I've been like kind of running on E for a while, just like, things just happened really, really fast. And so now I'm in a space where I'm letting everything sink in. I'm like still reflecting on stuff like, oh, wow, did that really happen to me? Or, oh, wow, I totally forgot this happened. So I'm just trying to like take it all in.
Yeah.
And really just, I'm confused.
I
I
love
don't
that.
act like I have it all together, because I don't. I just really am like it's a really weird place to be in. I'm like, okay, God, what do I do next? How can I push myself further? What's the next step?
Jules, you have no idea. You have no idea how much of an inspiration that is, because that's why I created Bosses Start Somewhere, because you are the example of a boss who is consistently starting somewhere. And that's what's inspiring, because there is no end goal, right? There's no finish line. It's just a journey, and it's embracing that journey. And that's so empowering for my listeners to hear, because at your level, we all think you have it figured out.
Wow. Yeah. I know. And I realize that sometimes like we look at people that seem to be doing what we want to be doing, and it looks like they have it all figured out. And then now that I've gotten close enough to like work with these people and see into like their personal lives, and, I realize, like, to be honest, nobody has it all figured out.
Right.
And the closest people to that place are the people that I've come across in my life that have the most simple life, and they're not uber successful financially, but they have, like, to me, the people in Hawaii have it all figured out. They don't care about who's dating who or what Trump said today or any of that, to be honest. Like, they care about their land. They care about preserving what's sacred to them. They don't, it's not a fashion show. They wear the same thing, every day. They don't care. They just want to be thankful for the sunrise and the sunset that God has granted them that day, and live a morally righteous life. And those are the people to me that have it figured out. So obviously I have a family to take care of. And if it wasn't for that, then I would definitely run away and probably go live on an island for a little bit until I got sick of that and decided to do something else, because that's kind of where I'm at mentally. Like, I just want to be grateful for the small things in life, and like not always looking for what I can get next, because I think that that's the society that we're living in today. And that's the person I've been for the past decade, always chasing after the next goal. And so I lost my sense of gratitude in a way, because I was always trying to get to the next place. I didn't stop to look around and say, wow, thank you, God, for bringing me here to where I am now. And so, I think it's important for people like myself. We're living in this era where we put everything that's great online, and people are like, hey, look, I'm at this show, I'm at this, I got this deal, I'm working with this brand, look, I'm in this hot outfit, my hair and makeup is done. But like, and then they'll, do the fake, oh, look, no makeup some days, I'm not feeling that great. But it's all like self-righteous. It's all like I'm so over it, like I just want us to have real conversations, like, and not just because it's cool, not just because mental health is a buzzword right now, not just because emo is like the thing that's in style, but because we want to like really have genuine, real connections with one another. And it's important to just start with yourself. Like, you don't look to others to be the example of that. Like, you have to be like, hey, yeah, no, I'm not okay. Why? X, Y, Z. This is where I'm trying to get. I'm not there yet.
Girl, you are about to have me say amen up in here. I just want to ask you one last question, and I know I'm sending you on your way. If there's one piece of advice that you could leave to those who are looking for a reason to keep going and not give up, what would that be?
Keep going, because you're alive and you're amazing, and that's a miracle in itself. And every single day that we get up, this is our world. We create our reality. You decided you wanted to do Bosses Start Somewhere, and now it's a thing.
Wow.
Like, you did that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nobody else did that.
Wow.
You created that with your mind, and here you are living it out. So, if there's anybody that's listening that's like, I don't know what the point is. The point is what you make it.
Wow.
If you don't think there's a point, then there won't be. You have to create your reality and be grateful that you have, hopefully, 2 eyes and 2 ears and 2 arms, and we're like really blessed. There's places all over the world where people can't even express themselves. You can't even chew gum in China. Wow. It's illegal. Wow. They hang you if you get caught with drugs. Wow. Like, I get that we're in a time where the leader is not the best guy, and everything seems fucked, but it's really not that bad. Yeah. Wow, Jules, you are so amazing. I mean, this has been such a pleasure. I just want to thank you once again for taking the time to do this. For those of you who don't know YESJULZ, get your whole life together, but tell us all where we can follow you and what we should follow. You can follow me on at YESJULZ on Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat. And if you like music and getting put on to underground artists and really great stuff that will move you as a human being, you can tune into 1 a.m. radio, and it's at 1 a.m. radio on all platforms as well. And yeah, thank you so much for having me. This was great. Amazing. Thank you, Jules. Have a wonderful day. And you're listening to Bosses Start Somewhere. Bosses Start Somewhere.